Shut your mouth! Spidey coming back! Will I sign up again?
Spider-Man Brand New Day is finally almost here, and I've been trying to ignore the hype to make the time pass faster, but we really made it. Sony's doing that thing they always do where they start straight up spoiling the movie in clips like right before it drops, so I'm trying to avoid everything I see like the plague. Regardless, it's really better be a Spidey summer. He looks absolutely beautiful in Marvel Tokon 2, dog. I can't take it. Just give it to me. All this Spidey hype has got me reminiscing about this character's journey on this channel. I'm not gonna lie. HELLONEX and Spider-Man go together like Cyclops and Ryu. Check me out. Ask any normal person who the greatest superhero of all time is and just guess what their answer is gonna be. Superman? Hell nah. Is Spidey the GOAT? Of course. He's easily the most relatable hero of all time because he's just like you and me. Watching him struggle to find any semblance of balance between his personal life and his work life is some of the most interesting stuff ever, and I think that's really where he shines. A truly great superhero story is meant to make you care about the person under the mask, right? And we watched Spidey literally do this hero from adolescence all the way to adulthood. He really is the first superhero we watched come of age like this, unless I'm like completely wrong. But he's at the very least the most popular hero to do this, and has spawned so many sons because of this. Think about how many Spidey clones there are throughout the vast multiverse of fiction and storytelling. Clones sound kind of derogatory, but I promise I don't mean it in a bad way. Anyway, let's talk about Spidey's kids right quick. When you look at Invincible, you probably think of Superman first, right? But think about young Mark on an individual level, and there's way more Spidey in his DNA than Supes. He's low-key like the perfect love child between the two, but also with like a little bit of Dragon Ball in there, cause you feel me, the Viltrumites beyond they Saiyan warrior Also, I know you've seen that season 3 teaser. Golly, that was beautiful. Shout out the animators of the actual series, but damn, we need these teaser niggas on the team too, cause look at how pretty this is. Mark Grayson, aka Young Mark, aka Invincible to God, literally has the textbook Spider-Man origin story. Regular high school kid who gets powers and becomes a superhero but struggles greatly to find any type of balance between his two lives. Now what makes Invincible truly great is how it deviates from this classic Spidey model. A, Mark's dad is All Might, so he already has a role model he wants to be like, who also ends up serving as a fire villain for him to overcome. B, his powers are hereditary. C, he works for the government almost immediately. Hey, Mark a little federal, and that's okay, because they was gonna get his ass one way or another. D, this whole series is damn near defined by how gruesome it can get. And E, we get to see how truly impossible it is to be a superhero and try to make a relationship with a normal civilian work. Mark and Amber genuinely wanted to make work, but oh my goodness, was that the most uphill of uphill battles. In the same series where this motherfucker is boxing aliens from outer space, bro, the absolute biggest challenge is making a relationship work, bro. And that's why all of these Spidey kids, all these stories work so well, because at the end of the day, the drama factor of it is the most important part, and that's just great storytelling. Nothing that ever happened in Amber's life really mattered in comparison to Mark. She lost her grandpappy, which really messed her up. Whole time Mark is in space getting his inverted all kinds of ways. Shout out Peter and MJ, but there is simply no way that would work. Amber's moment with Anissa perfectly sums up why that wouldn't work. Actually, in my Invincible video, I was like, as a superhero, there is just zero time to be in a loving, healthy relationship with a Civ. And after that Anissa episode, there was no way a regular, well-adjusted human being would handle this well. That's why Miles being with Starling or Gwen makes infinitely more sense to me. And no comic spoilers for Invincible, but dog, you've seen how season 2 ended. If Mark is gonna be with anybody anytime soon, it's definitely not gonna be with a regular civilian. But yeah, this truly is the greatest three-way fusion between Spidey, Goku, and Superman. And it's not really as a Saiyan 2, because he be getting out the ass Zenkai boosts every time he gets folded, which is kind of a lot, but that's why he's invincible, because he always get back up. You hear me? If we talking Spidey's sons though, I gotta bring up Danny Muff and Phantom the GOAT. This kid is literally Nickelodeon and Spider-Man, plain and simple. An accident caused by his ghost hunter parents gives him ghost powers, and now he be boxing ghosts too. He gets his powers even younger than Mark too, like he's 14 years old. His villains gotta hate him too, dog. I know they be pissing him the off. His supporting cast is absolutely goated too. Sam and Tucker are his 4 lifers. His sister Jazz be on some chill shit. His parents are actually insane, but they fun as too. Then there's the main villain Vlad, who is kinda kinda clean, dog. Look. He's also a half-human ghost hybrid, just like Danny, but he low-key way saucier. Like, he can do anything and everything Danny can, but just better in every way. And then some more stuff after that too, bro. This be duplicating himself, bro. I ain't never seen Danny duplicate himself. You feel me? Unless I missed that episode. Then there's the coolest looking character in this whole series, Emperor the Goat. She's an authority-hating ghost guitarist who leads a ghost band and lives rent-free on some rebellious pirate type timing. Hey, can't be mad at that, dog. Then she literally comes back as a pirate? How can you tell me she not the goat? Everything from the flaming hair, skull heels, scorching hot guitar, the dragged out eyeliner, double ear piercings, bruh. She too tough. Also, Danny need a quick little fit highlight, dog. Peep game. His costume is the definition of less is more. The turtleneck with the silver accents and the black suit is clean. Plus the logo for identification is fire too. Hey, you gotta know who's saving your life. Peep the big D on his chest. Peep the ultra instinct hair too. The whole no mask thing is crazy though. There's no way changing your hair and eye color is enough to keep people from knowing who you are. But like, I guess it worked on his parents because they be making contact with this in ghost form all the time, and they just don't know that that's their whole child. But I guess the silver hair and the green eyes is enough. On some like Superman hair tuft, I guess it's some plain sight type timing, but the don't even change his hairstyle. It's the same style. It's the same Timmy Turner hair. If that's enough, that's enough. I guess. Danny be quipping like crazy on some Spidey shit too. But if we talking Nickelodeon Spidey spawns, we cannot neglect the real goats. Manny Rivera is the guardian of Miracle City, and just like young Mark, his dad is a legendary hero, but his grandpops is the one that's the crazy insane villain. Manny gets to go on separate adventures with both of them though, which makes for such a fun dichotomy. He's constantly being pulled from both sides who are trying to influence him to be better or worse, good or evil, nice or mean, generous or greedy. You get the point. But also his grandpa is a retired villain, so he's not like actively blowing cities up and robbing banks most of the time, but he's also rebellious and he be pissing his teachers off all the time. Like, he's damn near an anti-hero sometimes, and that's kind of fire if you ask me. Also on some Black Panther type timing, the mantle of El Tigre was passed down from one of his super great grandparents. There's also of course his guy in the chair, his homie Frida, except she don't really be in the chair like that. She just straight up there with him on missions going crazy. Oh yeah, his mom was also a superhero at 1.2. This nigga got a whole ass super family, bro. On some Sky High type timing, bro. But the Spidey DNA is there, dog. He's a little nigga that has to make a regular life work while coming of age and also being a whole ass superhero too. Also, Manny Dead might be the sauciest character in this video, dog. Peep game. His regular everyday fit is calm, you feel me? But shout out the yellow undershirt, plus the Kakashi scar over his eye is tough as but peep the Louis belt that's secretly hiding his whole super suit. That's gotta be the hardest since the Flash ring. The red scarf, the icy white fur hair thingies with the tiger tail, cowboy boots of doom, the vibranium claws. This nigga nice as he got the little Winter Soldier stars on his gloves too, dog. That's clean. This next Spidey clone might be a reach, not gonna lie. But hear me out. Terry McGinnis, stand up! Yes, the nigga name is Batman Beyond. Yes, he's literally Batman. Yes, his mentor is quite literally Bruce Wayne as a fossil. But check me out! Just like everybody else here, he's a youngin' who's trying to find himself and be a normal high school senior while also saving his city when the sun go down. I think similar to Invincible, Terry is like the perfect fusion between Batman and Spider-Man, as opposed to like Superman and Spider-Man with Invincible, with a sprinkle of Goku in there. Also, side note, super duper side note, look, I'm a fighting game at heart. Every time I say his name, I'm thinking of Bogart, bro. I'm straight thinking of Terry Bogart, I'm not gonna lie. But McGinnis, Terry McGinnis. But being the love child of Batman and Spidey is kind of crazy. Those are like two of the most iconic icons of all time. So like, this was set up for greatness. Shout out El Tigre, but I lied, dog. Terry is the sauciest motherfucker here. I'm sorry, bro. All blacked out suit with the futuristic utility belt, plus the crimson red bat insignia, and the full face mask. Dog, he perfected the suit. And when he flies around, he got crimson red underarm wings to complement the blacked out suit too. Is this a Hall of Fame bat suit? Yes, easily. Hello? Look at this. Look, this is crazy. less is more is what makes Danny's suit so good, but Terry just did it infinitely better. He really on some Spider-Man 2099 too, cause future Gotham and Nueva York got hella similarities. Also, Spider-Verse Miguel and Terry both got insane enhancements on their suits, dog. Terry got jetpacks, resistance to literally everything, super strength, speed, reflexes, and senses. Who is this man feeling like? It is really cool seeing all the characters of the DC animated universe age and seeing who retires and who stays heroing. Terry also kind of moves like Andrew Garfield's Peter too, which is interesting. He kind of smooth, a little too cool for schoolish, but not in a corny way, a little cocky too, bruh. This is just a cool ass dude. But there's also a bright light of hope and optimism in him that I think Bruce really appreciates. This dude is not your parents' Batman, bruh. This motherfucker has fun. He also be quipping like crazy, which is why his Joker hates the ever-loving out this man. Terry and his story would have made for such a beautiful movie too. And now every time I look at that test footage for that Spider-Verse style Batman Beyond movie, I mourn what could have been, bro. Oh, I slick should have talked about American Dragon, bro. Shout out the GOAT Jake Long. He's definitely in this category of Spidey's sons too. It might come off as like derogatory that like Spider-Man has sons, but like you love Danny Phantom, you love El Tigre, you love Batman Beyond. I know you love Batman Beyond. You feel me? Like you love these characters. You feel me? So like, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I think it's all just a matter of inspiration though. You feel me? These got inspired. Maybe Spidey's just a model superhero, look. But shout out like young Spider-Man, but look, I think it's time to let that nigga age in everything. You feel me? In all mediums. I think we don't need to see that nigga in high school ever again, respectfully. Shout out what they got going on with this new Ultimate Spider-Man run. That shit looks beautiful. A Peter who doesn't get his powers until he's like 30 plus. That's fire. Look, maybe it's because I'm growing up too and a teen Spider-Man just doesn't resonate with me the same way it did. Shout out old Peter, bruh. Peter B, look, bro, I don't even think it's a controversial take to say that Peter B. Parker is one of the greatest variants of Spider-Man of all time, bro. Look, well, one of the greatest Peter Parker variants, you feel me? Because if we talking goats, Hobie and Miles, you feel me? You feel what I'm saying? Everybody loves Spider-Man, right? There's so much of him everywhere to the point where he has a metric doodle ton of variants across various shows, movies, and comics. I myself have been a Miles Morales truther since like 2011, and those Spider-Verse movies really took that to 1,000,000. Those movies are one of the few times I've ever seen an adaptation of something be infinitely better than the source material. Across the Spider-Verse specifically did something very, very special. Spider-Punk was a character I didn't care about at all before watching that movie. He always looked kind of generic and a little boring, but then everything changed when this version of Hobie burst onto the scene. Beyond the Spider-Verse is finally real, and we know Hobie Spider-Punk is coming back. Miles and Gwen are most definitely chilling in his universe here. I mean, just look at how cool this place looks. But Hobie Brown is truly the most special part about this movie. And also, he is the epitome of sauce and swag. Hobie Brown is Spidey's greatest variant. Walk with me. June 4th, 2027 is the day of reckoning. The day we finally see Beyond the Spider-Verse. The greatest trilogy of movies to ever grace our world is loading right now as we speak. There is a select few number of people that have actually seen footage of this movie now, and I just know for a fact their lives are changed now. Unless they release some type of teaser between now and when I hit upload. Probably not though, but we gonna see. Also, what are the odds this movie gets delayed again? Look, I don't mind. Hey, these animators need time to cook. Let it cook, please. But look at the setting of this image. First of all, I thought this was just really, really detailed, beautifully crafted concept art, but it turns out these are actual stills from the actual movie. It's absolutely sensational. But this still of Miles and Gwen literally look like Hobie's world, bruh. Tell me this ain't his universe. This is literally the land of mixed media, bruh. It looked just like it. In the same way that we vaguely saw Gwen's universe in the background of her little intro demo in the first movie, we also get a little glimpse of what Hobie's universe looks like in Across 2. Gwen's world ended up looking way more visually fleshed out when we got a better look at it in Across versus how it was in Into the Spider-Verse, so it only makes sense that New London would look a little different in Beyond. His entire mini origin explainer in Across was literally the greatest intro for any fictional character I've ever bore witness to. Every single thing he says here is just perfect. I was immediately sold on him frame one. His super anti-establishment nature is used for comedy and for actual plot relevance too, which is even better. Everything about this movie, and especially about this character, feels so intentional. The concept of punk as a movement and as a genre, or really just a culture in general, is so cool and extremely important to our history and our future. Afro-punk especially is so legendary. To be punk is to fight the power. No Grand Lager, if you know. you know. And peep how they heavily imply that he Swiss cheesed his police captain in Across the Spider-Verse too. At the very least, you don't feel too bothered that it happened. It's super interesting that Spider-Punk's character doesn't get rid of President Osborn in a super Avatar Aang type peaceful way. In a painfully dire struggle against the physical embodiment of greed, somebody might have to get turned into mulch. It seemed like he's okay with crossing that line that many superheroes and many Spideys especially aren't cool with crossing. I mean, look, he did say it himself. He not a role model, but he was briefly a runway model. It just makes sense. It's kind of funny he says this though, because out of everyone in this entire movie, he is easily the greatest role model here. Shout out Peter B, but that nigga was moving iffy too, bruh. I'm sorry, the humbling reality Spider-Man was moving iffy too. It is what it is. We still love this nigga though. And also look, Hobie Brown as a character and really Across the Spider-Verse as a movie by extension got me super into the genre of Afropunk as a whole. Like after the movie came out, I kind of got in a little rabbit hole of like Afropunk as a genre. I found this huge playlist on Spotify with a whole bunch of, like, it was literally titled Afropunk, and it was a whole bunch of different Afropunk bands, Afropunk artists and all that. I dove deep into the rabbit hole and I ended up finding one of my favorite albums of all time through this movie in Gentrified Chicken. Also, the way he packed up his President Osborn was insane, bruh. This nigga smashed his guitar through his head. Golly. The desire for freedom manifests in characters in very, very different ways, and I think it's really cool how that works. Luffy and Hobie ultimately do the same thing in liberating oppressed people from Fire Nation ass greedy people in power, but they both go about it in extremely different ways, and I think that's neat. Somebody like Luffy is like a caricature of the entire concept of freedom in the sense that it's not really about justice for him at all, whereas with Hobie, it feels like every move he makes is done with so much intention and everything's just thought out, at least a little bit. Hey, this ain't a Luffy video though, so let me chill. I like to do little fit highlights for characters on this channel, but Spider-Punk especially needs one, bruh. This may genuinely be the greatest character design in all of fiction. Peep game. First of all, I really like how lanky this motherfucker is, and really in general, it feel like the proportions of characters in these movies feel so subtly exaggerated, and then also not so subtly exaggerated. Hey, that's really the beauty of having an art style for like a piece of media versus just having people on a set. And look, shout out live action. There's a lot of great fire directors who can really freak live action stuff, but animation just got it, bruh. Animation just got it. You can do anything with animation, bruh. But let me chill. I already made a video about it. Let me chill. Also, side note of Doom, it really was refreshing watching Spidey fight the Kingpin again, because I feel like it's been ages since we seen that prior to Into the Spider-Verse. Now, granted, as I say it out loud, I realized that he definitely fought that nigga at the beginning of Insomniac Spider-Man 1. But look, bro, that was the intro to the game. That don't count, bro. That don't count. Before that little intro part, the last time Spidey fought Kingpin, to my memory, was the animated series. It's been a while. Who knows though? Maybe we'll see him box in Brand New Day with Daredevil. Probably not though, right? Because apparently, bro, Streets is saying Mr. Negative might be the, you feel me? Who knows? Who knows? Shang-Chi is one of the greatest movies of Phase 4. Destin Daniel Cretton will cook. But literally everything about Hobie's design feels so intentional too. Peep the super spiky spikes on his mask and how the whites in his eyes are kind of rubbed off a little bit. The running eyeliner going down his eyes is so peak too. Oh my goodness. This motherfucker is a true punk star. He got a whole bunch of pins all over him too, and I'm sure every single one needs something. I'm not usually a huge fan of Spidey designs having white or silver webs. Tobey Maguire suit, don't kill me. But I think it works really well on Spider-Punk's suit because of how much chaos is going on already. Like if the webbing was black on his suit, it just wouldn't stand out at all compared to like everything else that's going on here, you feel me? Whenever he's not constantly changing colors, it's really cool that his base palette is in fact still red and blue. The fishnet type webbing going from his hands to his forearms is such a fun way to add more blue accents to this too. The plaid pants without the ass patches are great too, bruh. Look at the little spider on his thigh. Something is going on everywhere and I'm loving it. And like the places in his design where there's like white space is like oddly enough, if I'm not mistaken, his chest type area, there's white space, and I think that's such a cool subversion because it's like that's where you would expect the spider symbol to be, but it's on the back. That's so cool. His spider being on the back exclusively instead of the front is some heat. He really not a fan of labeling himself as a hero, and it feels like this is related to that. Like, I'm not a hero, therefore there's no need to like display what I represent so boldly on my chest, but on the back though, on the back is clean. did. But like, damn, even Hobie's Spider-Punk symbol in this movie looks so fire too, especially compared to what it was originally. Look, bruh, I dead might have to get this tatted on me. It's too beautiful. Everything about his design is inconsistent and chaotic, especially when he's in motion. He said it himself though, he don't believe in consistency. And peep the laces too. This tweet explains a lot about what lace code is in punk culture and what the colors of Hobie's laces mean, and it's so fire. But then he takes off his mask and then it look 3 times cooler. How is that even possible? Piercings galore, real life facial features, and I know you see them wigs. Giving Hobie Brown's Spider-Punk these fire-ass freeform wigs was the single greatest design choice on this entire character. Of course, Spider-Punk would have freeforms. It just makes sense. Hey, this nigga really do look like Lon Sifu in the face though. That's crazy. I feel like that had to be on purpose, at least a little bit, right? From the kind of sort of limited-ish knowledge I know about him, it seemed like he aligns with Hobie a lot in terms of ideals and even musically when it comes to freedom of expression. This whole design is like his classic but cranked up to a milli. It's perfect. The homie Not a Demigod also does all the art for this channel, has the artwork for this movie, and I genuinely wish I could just take it and then rip out every page with Hobie on it and just hang it on my wall, bruh, cause it's so this art book, this shit. But really the whole art book is a legendary item, so like I might as well just rip out every single page and put them all on my wall, right? You feel me? That just makes sense, right? Also, even the excess string hanging off the tuners of his guitar just adds to the non-conformity of it all. I think it's really cool that his design in the comics got a sauce upgraded Doom after the release of Across the Spider-Verse. They finally locked in and boom, the generic look he had before. I'm not really a fan of his hair though. Like the blonde and pink is cool, but Draves is kind of crazy. But also, I don't know, it makes sense for the whole not conforming to the standards of society thing. But I think freeforms is a better way of conveying that while still making a cool ass design. At least the suit clean though. Also, look, bruh, I'm a huge fan of the way he talks in this movie. Maybe I'm crazy, but like, look, the British hate feels so forced sometimes, bruh. Look, I'm sorry, the British accent sound cool to me. I think it's fire how he switches between different English dialects too. Like there's a little Cockney in there and some road in there too. Daniel Kaluuya was the perfect actor to cast as this character, dude. That man snapped in a booth. Hobie's really up there with Kamina in my fictional Hall of Fame now, which is really crazy because he was probably in that movie for like 20 to 30 minutes max. That right there is impact, bro. Look, I've seen a lot of media in my life. You've probably seen a lot of media in your life too, but Hobie Brown, that nigga done transcended all of these other fire, monumental, inspirational characters to become his goats. That's impact. No dial. They added this man to Fortnite and I re-downloaded just to buy the skin and never play the game again, bruh. What is wrong with me? Hey, the skin clean though, ain't it? His powers are really interesting to me too, cause just like Miles, he also has the Venom Blast or something similar to it that he channels through his guitar. But Miles still got the edge on him with the whole cloaking abilities, which I think is pretty cool. I made a video a very long time ago on my old channel about Spider-Sonas coming back, and I went through a bunch, and one of my favorites was this spider jury from Alex Ahad. This concept was just so fire to me because she already really has the arachnid motif going on, and her crouch is literally her hitting the most Spidey-eye pose ever. Hey, look, I'm sorry, there's always a way to make this about fighting games, my bad, but look, bro, Spider Judy Han is goated. I can just feel the collective Spider-Verse hyperfixation is resurrecting in everybody, and look, bro, I'm seeing Spider-Sonas back on the timeline again. That's a beautiful thing, bro. That's a beautiful thing. And look, it low-key make me want to remake the video that I did on my own channel about Spider-Sonas, but look, I don't know. We gonna see, because look, this Hobie video is already technically a remake of a video on my old channel. Not really though, but like I talked about Hobie on the old channel, so it's like, you feel me? It's really crazy, dude. Across the Spider-Verse is probably the single movie I've seen more than any other, bruh. I was spamming this movie over and over when it came out, and it still hits so much now. This is truly going to be a timeless trilogy, dog. The IAB trilogy will be regarded as the greatest of all time for the rest of history, baby. Look, the future is always brighter than the present, which is why this movie's not out yet. But the future is always brighter than the present, so like, look, who knows? Maybe one day in like 2040 46, we'll get like the real greatest trilogy of all time. But until then, it's Into, Across, and Beyond. I don't know what to tell you. There's been a lot of talk about Spider-Man's cinematic swings throughout the years and which one is the best. Brand New Day looks like it's gonna have some amazing practical swinging, dog. I'm seeing Tom Holland flip through the city so gracefully in these set photos. Is Spider-Man real? It looks beautiful. But Spidey's real greatest cinematic swing to date comes in the form of animation. It's damn near impossible to deny the fact that these larger-than-life characters from comics work so much better when they're translated from the page into animation versus live action. These characters were always meant to defy realism, and the greatest way to do that is through the limitless medium of animation. Every single swinging scene in both Into and Across the Spider-Verse are some of the greatest of all time. But there's one specific one that stands out to me more than any other. I wanted to say Miles swinging through Earth 42 so bad, but there's really not a lot of actual swinging going on here. He's literally running away from the past. But the real greatest cinematic swing is in Miles and Gwen swinging through Brooklyn, dog. It's phenomenal. Peep game. This scene is literally perfect. It kind of feels like cheating because there's two Spider-Men swinging here, but even if you took one of them out, it would still hands down be the best big screen swing through the city. There's so much going on here, whether it be literally what's happening on screen, what the scene means for each character, and what it shows about where they're both at. It's pretty as hell to look at, but it also means something too. We get to see Spider-Man swing in the most versatile ways here, dude. They're doing all type of needle threading through trucks, swinging in circles around poles, almost getting hit by trucks. It's fantastic. Say that again. These are two seasoned Spider people that know what they're doing, and it shows so much here. Unlike Miles running through Earth 42, this scene is about how fun it is to traverse as Spider-Man, at least on a surface level. Have you ever seen Spidey swing upside down from his leg before? They just bust out the most random creative tricks here to try to impress each other, and it's so cool to me. There's a myriad of reasons as to why this is the greatest cinematic swing of all time, but the biggest one, visually at least, is in just how creative they are with everything. I have never seen Spider-Man do the type of swinging they're doing in this scene. It's so beautiful. I could literally watch this scene forever. Loop this scene forever. I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna hit to me every time, and I'll somehow find something new to notice every time. And that's what's so beautiful about this movie. Yes, it's pretty. Yes, it's one of the most beautiful looking pieces of art ever, but also the writing behind it, it's so much. And peep how Miles double-handed web swings into this random ass impact frame just for the love of the game. I'm a One Piece fan, so you know I love a good impact frame. Granted, literally every single frame of this movie is a poster. Deadass pause at any point in the movie and that could go on somebody's wall. Like literally look, boom, there's a whole poster right here. They even get a chance to tag Miles graffiti stickers on a water tank, cause who gonna stop him? That's Spider-Man, dog. There's even a little Super Mario wall jump moment here too. Every type of thing Spider-Man could do is getting done in this scene. Is it crazy to say this is the greatest movie of all time? That's not crazy to say. We get to see so much of Brooklyn too. Like they're swinging under bridges, on top of buildings, onto trains. We get a little second of them swinging over somebody peacefully working on their garden. Like they didn't have to add this at all, but it helps breathe so much more life into this environment. A rooftop garden look like some vibes though, dog. Cities are just so fire. They're even fighting crime mid-swing. Oh my goodness, this movie is just so goated. Spidey really is friendly neighborhood as hell, because this kid has no reaction to him being in front of him through the window of this train. The people of Brooklyn are used to seeing this man everywhere. Bro is in his own world. Who is this little guardian, bro? Stop doing that. Also, who knows if this is intentional or not, but the way they run and jump off the roof here is like bar for bar how Peter did it in his introduction during the first movie. Like these are two seasoned Spideys now. Well, I guess Gwen been a seasoned Spidey already, but now they both are. Also, the way Miles' model turns completely white before almost getting hit by the train is such a fire way to mimic the effect of how bright those headlights are. Animation is just so marvelous, dude. New York is just so alive here too. Or I guess I should say Brooklyn specifically. We got cars everywhere, food trucks galore, pedestrians almost getting fried by cars. We got niggas cutting up on a highway. It's crazy. As a nigga that's never been to Brooklyn yet, it's sensational. But I have been meaning to go to Brooklyn for a long time now. The greatest YouTuber of all time, Etika, is literally from Brooklyn. I need to see that mural in person. I genuinely think the pacing of this movie is perfect because we get to see Miles interact with his city as Spidey for a considerable amount of time before going into different universes. Across the Spider-Verse needed to be a two-parter because imagine getting half of this movie cut out to make it to the full conclusion. It still would have been a goated movie, but because we got the split, this movie gets to breathe, and that's so awesome to me. Like when we had that opening scene with Miles after Gwen's intro for the first 20 minutes, you can just feel how much life there is in his universe as Brooklyn. I'm hearing from a couple of Brooklyn natives online that like Brooklyn is starting to get very gentrified, and it feels like Earth 1610's Brooklyn, it still gets to keep that culture, bruh. Cause look, assuming that 616 is the closest we get to our real world, Miles is 1610, his universe is Brooklyn, we get to just pick and choose what we get to keep from our world. You feel me? Let's just take the gentrification out. Cause look, the first time he seen the spot was in a bodega at the deli. What Ice Spice say? I'm still shaking ass in a deli. 100 bands of Chanel. Look, I think to this day, my favorite part of this movie is just watching Miles exist as Spidey in his universe. But now he's a year and a half into being Spider-Man, so he's way more comfortable. Well, nah, my favorite part of this movie is just whenever my gold Hobie Brown is on screen, but that is a very close second. He's one-shotting random villains I ain't never heard of in my whole life, all while trying to juggle being a regular kid too. Nah, but for real, who is this? The Armadillo? Spidey's animal-based villains are always so fun to me because it only makes sense for a spider to box a rhino, a scorpion, an octopus, a damn goblin, etc, etc. Hey, there's a reason why him and Batman got the greatest roles in all of fiction. Holy tangent, bro. Let me get back to the topic. Actually, forgot it. Hoes money on this shit. Oh yeah, I'm reminded. But anyway, while Miles and Gwen are swinging, a super important conversation is going on about what Gwen's been up to, and that sort of informs a lot about the framing of this swinging scene. People out Gwen's in the front while Miles is following her the whole time. Because he's following her lead, he almost gets hit by a truck. And of course it don't actually matter because this is Spider-Man, you feel me? Shout out to Spidey sense. But he's blindly following her for a huge part of this movie until he realizes she backdoored him crazy. But it feels like to some extent Miles is a support character in this scene. Gwen is the one with all these Spider Society stories to tell. Gwen is the one with something to hide. But also we're getting this from Miles' perspective right now, so like it's like he's falling behind trying to prove something to her. I know he got a year and a half worth of Spidey tales to share, but she's the only one talking for real. Or maybe I'm just reading into it too much. Miles is still interested in what she's talking about, and he's the one asking more about it. Also, she wasn't even gonna pay for that glizzy, bruh. That's a small business, dog. Look at how much Miles gave him too. That only paid for his glizzy. Gwen just robbed this but maybe Spidey gets free glizzies. I don't know how Brooklyn works. That look mad confused though. So But even if you take away all the crazy behind the scenes meanings behind the characters involved, this is still visually the prettiest web swinging sequence I done ever laid eyes upon. This character has a lot of great cinematic swings throughout his history on the big screen. That shit in The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is Hall of Fame. Don't get it twisted. He had the wrinkles in his suit going crazy, dog. It was amazing. But nothing hits quite like animation on a level like this. But Spider-Man's web swinging sequences in general should be celebrated across all different forms of media, because look, how many other superheroes do we have that like get such an iconic sequence that is translated through every single version of the character? Like, it's not like we get a scene of Superman flying through Metropolis every movie. That doesn't happen. It's not like we get a scene of Batman brooding overlooking the city every movie. Well, we might actually, I don't. Probably, yeah. But like, Batman's brooding is not to the same level as Spider-Man swinging. Spider-Man swinging is way more dynamic. But Spider-Man swinging, it's like there's no other superhero that's been adapted at least that has such an iconic, consistent thing that is translated to every single movie. It's beautiful. Hey, look, bruh, I'm a fighting game so I gotta bring it up. Marvel Tokon, Spider-Man web swinging is going to be magnificent. I'm already knowing. If MVC got his web swinging right, yeah, Tokon gonna do that justice. Speaking of my goat Hobie Brown, and supposedly he's getting a whole movie, I really want to be excited. I am excited about this, but like, look, there's been so many rumors of different Spider-Verse spinoffs since the first movie came out, and we've heard nothing. I want to keep my expectations tempered. You feel me? If a Hobie Brown movie comes out, I'm in there day 0. I'm in there day -5. I'm sneaking into Sony Picture Studios and I'm getting access to that movie. Even if the Hobie Brown movie's not real, that's gonna be in Beyond the Spider-Verse. And Beyond the Spider-Verse, look, 2027 is not that far away. Say it with me. 2027 is not that far away. 2027 is not that far away. If Across the Spider-Verse is the greatest movie of all time, Beyond the Spider-Verse has the chance to stick the landing and usher in the greatest trilogy of movies to ever exist, ever. But yeah, shout out Spidey, shout out these golden cinematic swings, and shout out you.
I can't feel my face right now, I'm burning up. I got this feeling that I won't come down, like, got this feeling that I won't come down, like, got this feeling that I won't come